What is going on, guys? Yeti here, and welcome back to another PC gaming build. Coming back with an April 2015 build. Today we're going to be doing an ultimate $1,000 build, which will be able to max out any game, 1080p, 60 FPS, without any problems. So yeah, let's get started with this. So for the CPU, I've gone with the Intel Core i5 4670K 3.4 GHz quad-core processor. You can pick this up at the moment for about $235. This processor will basically do everything you need it to do. It's a really nice processor. It's quite expensive, but it's like right at the top end of the i5 processors. To be honest, I was looking at the i7 processors, and I think that for this kind of price range, to keep it under the $1,000, you're much better to go with a higher end i5 than a lower end i7. But that's just my opinion. I mean, feel free to change these builds as you want. This will supplement any graphics card really that you put in there, any NVIDIA graphics card at least. Obviously, Intel and AMD graphics cards don't necessarily go the best together, but we do have a NVIDIA graphics card in this build, so it will go pretty well with that. You'll be able to game with this, you'll be able to stream and render videos pretty nicely. This is overclockable, but like I said, the stock speed of this is 3.4 GHz. So yeah, but this is a good all-round processor. It's really nice, right at the top end of i5, so definitely recommend it. So for the CPU cooler, I've gone for the Cooler Master Hyper TX3. I was gonna just leave this with a standard Intel cooler, but I was having a look. I've added up all the prices and that, and it came to about $980. So with that $20 left, I figure you may as well have a CPU cooler. Sometimes the standard ones, I mean, they'll do the job, but it might just get a little bit warm and they might kind of break a little bit quicker. I've had problems in the past with AMD coolers where the thermal paste for the cooler actually kind of went solid and got stuck to the processor. So when I tried to pull, like when I was taking the processor out, I tried to pull the fan off and the processor was stuck to the fan, so I ended up ripping out the socket and breaking the motherboard. Anyway, so I think a good cooler is definitely worth it if you do have the money left over, which you do in this build. So that'll keep it running nice and cool. It won't break easily. It's not cheap. So yeah, it's a good CPU cooler. You may as well do it if you've got the money left. So for the motherboard, I've gone for the ASRock Z97 Anniversary motherboard. This is an LGA 1150 motherboard. You can get this for about $83, $84 at the moment. It's kind of fluctuating a little bit. This motherboard, I'm just going to say the same thing that I always say for motherboards. It does the job. I'm never really the kind of person who's going to go like crazy with a motherboard. I just kind of want a motherboard that'll do what I need it to do, which, you know, supports the right processor and has enough RAM slots, the right, you know, it'll do everything you need it to do. It's a motherboard. It'll support everything for this build. It's got room for expansion. It can support up to 4 RAM drives, so RAM slots, RAM drives, RAM sticks, I don't know, or whatever you want to say. So yeah, there's no point, in my opinion, there's no point splashing out and getting a really good motherboard when this will do the job perfectly. It's a Z97 one, so you know, it's good quality. It's a good quality motherboard. It'll support basically any current Intel processor you put in it, whether it be an i5 or an i7, whatever. You know, it'll do the job. So just roll with that. So for the RAM, I've gone with 12 gigs of G.Skill Ripjaws X. This is 1600 MHz memory. I've gone with it in the form of 4 4GB drives. So basically, I went for 12 gig. On PC Part Picker, there isn't an option for 12 gig RAMs, so I've gone for an 8 gig in the form of 2 4 gigs, and then I've added the 1 4 gig. So that's why if you're looking on PC Part Picker, they are separate as 2 4 gigs and 1 4 gig, but they are the exact same RAM. It's just that's the way I've had to do it because they don't do 12 gigabytes of RAM. So if you want to order the 2 4 gigs and then a third 4 gig separate, that's what I'd recommend. But yeah, so I've gone with this RAM because it's pretty cheap at the moment. The 2 4 gigs together is $55, and then the 1 4 gig is about $33. The reason why I went for 12 gig is because, in my opinion, you can survive with 8 gigs of RAM. Like, that's not going to be a problem. You'll be able to game with that. You'll be able to multitask with that and stream and all that jazz. But the reason why I'm going with 12 gig is because if you look at the system requirements of games that are coming out at the moment, like you look at The Witcher 3, look at Battlefield Hardline, a lot of games are starting to recommend 8 gigs of RAM. So if you have 8 gigs of RAM, you know, you're going to do fine with the recommended, but it's kind of like just about at the limit. So I think just to have this extra 4 gig of RAM would be really useful when gaming. It means your performance won't be compromised with games like The Witcher 3. But you'll also be able to stream as well separately without any performance hits, without that FPS dropping, which is obviously what you want. So that's why I went for the extra 4 gig, and it fits in the budget fine. The budget was $1,000 from the beginning, and this keeps it under the budget, so I figure you may as well have it in there. If the budget's $1,000, you may as well have it if it's going to fit in $1,000, and I think it will be helpful in the long term, especially if you're going to be making videos or streaming or do anything that kind of thing. It will be really helpful. So for the storage, I've gone for the usual Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB, 7200 RPM, 3.5 inch hard drive. This is, it's the standard at this point. You get it for just under $53 at the moment. Like I said, this is the standard. If you want to, I would recommend maybe getting a second 1TB hard drive at some point in the future. But stick with the $1,000 budget. This is what you want to go for. Games are starting to get bigger and bigger nowadays, and I just don't think a 500 gig hard drive is going to cut it. But this one will do you pretty well because it's got full terabyte, so you'll have room for games or upcoming games. You'll have room for videos if you're into that kind of thing, and it's 7200 RPM, all that good stuff. So it's going to perform pretty well. Some people like an SSD for installing their operating systems onto. I personally, I'm not really particularly bothered about that. I think it's not worth the extra money. You can just, the difference is barely noticeable unless you need a particular reason for it to go fast. Like if you need it to work or whatever, then maybe that's good, maybe that'd be worth the investment. But in my opinion, for just gaming and video editing, just a standard gaming machine, it's not really necessary, and I think you'll do just fine with this, with just a hard drive, and especially at 7200 RPM, you're not gonna have a problem with any performance there. Okay, so for the graphics card, I've gone with the MSI Twin Frozer GTX 970 4GB graphics card. You'll be able to get this for about $320 at the moment. In my opinion, for this kind of price, this is probably the best graphics card on the market at the moment. It's relatively new, it's been out a few months now, but it's got all the latest technology from NVIDIA. It can support multiple cards, multiple monitors. This thing will max out any game you throw at it at the moment in 1080p at solid 60 FPS, especially when partnered with the motherboard. With the CPU that will put in the build, the 4670K. This will max out anything without a problem. You'll be able to stream off this, you'll be able to make videos off this, and you should be fine. And this thing, because it's quite new, it's probably a bit future proof as well. So this thing will probably last you happily for at least 2 or 3 years. So definitely recommend this one, and it's for the kind of performance you're going to be getting for this price range. Like without a doubt, this is the best one. This is going to perform really well for the price, especially when compared to an AMD card such as an R9 280X or a 290 or a 7970, something else in the same price range. This is definitely going to top them in my opinion. Okay, so for the power supply, I've gone with the Corsair CX 750W power supply. This is an 80 plus bronze certified semi-modular ATX power supply. This is a power supply, it's going to do the job. It's got 750 watts. You could get away with a 650 watt power supply in this build, but the reason why I went for a 751 is not only did it fit in the budget, but this allows for some upgradability in the future if you ever want to upgrade to a slightly more power consuming graphics card in a couple of years time, because that's always a problem. If people get a power supply that's like just enough for their build, in the future they'll be like, okay, it's been a couple of years, I'm ready to upgrade my graphics card, but then it turns out that they need a new processor as well, and then that just adds to the price. So I think you may as well just buy a slightly more capable power supply, give you more room, just so that in the future, if you ever do want to upgrade from a 970 into say a 980 or any new graphics cards to come out in the future, then you will have some more power around, so you won't need to upgrade your power supply as well. So yeah, it is what it is. It's a power supply. So yeah. Moving on to the case, I've gone with the NZXT S340 Black ATX mid-tower case. You'll get this for about $65 at the moment. A case is a case, it'll do the job, it'll fit everything in, it looks pretty stylish, it's got a side window on the side, so if you're into that kind of thing, you can look into your case and see it, and look at all the stuff and admire your work. I really like that. It looks really nice, it's a solid built case. NZXT are a pretty trusted brand at this point, so you know that you're going to be getting a good quality case from them. No compromise on the quality, and it's not too expensive. $65 is kind of the mid range for a case. It's probably like low to mid in a way that it's not super cheap, but it's also not too expensive, and it fits the budget perfectly, and it does the job, and it does it stylishly. So what have you got to complain about? Okay, so if you like this build, sure leave a like, it really helps out a lot. I'm going to put a link down in the description this time to, I'll put it all together on PC Part Picker. I'm going to be doing that from every video onwards now. I know with my $650 build, I just put a list of the specs, there wasn't a PC Part Picker link, but I have got it together on PC Part Picker, that's what I'm reading off at the moment. So there'll be a link down in the description if you want to go check that out. I will still have a list of the specs, just like in the description, just so you can read it without clicking any links. There will be a PC part picker, and you'll be able to go on that and see all the parts and be able to buy them through PC part picker, through sites such as Newegg and etc. But yeah, so if you like this video, be sure to leave a like. It helps me out more than it costs me to imagine. If you did enjoy this video and you want to see more and you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe. I'm trying to get my channel back together, reboot it and stuff, so that would be hugely appreciated. I'm going to be making more of these videos in the coming months, so yeah. My name's Vignette, and I'll see you all later. Peace off.